Good evening, loyal listeners. Welcome back to another special edition of the Sokkah Podcast. It is Joe, joined by...
Trent.
Now, Trent, huge, I had to call this late podcast tonight. It's 9:30 at night.
It's
Trent,
a late night edition, Joe.
It's crisis time, Trent. It's crisis time. Is Richard Garcia, is he the man to lead Glory into the next 6 games of the season? Is he the man still to do that?
If Glory had more money, he wouldn't be the man. But at the moment, I think he is, sadly. Joe, sadly.
Now, I'm not too sure about Garcia at the moment. Glory haven't won a game in 12 games.
I've been sure about Garcia all year, Joe. There's been a lacking of philosophy on the field, you know?
I thought in round 1, Trent, this guy's insane. This guy's Pep Guardiola. We're going to win the league. We're not losing a game. Come at me, Melbourne City. However...
I did feel that in round 1 as well.
20 rounds into the season, it's gone pretty downhill.
It has gone downhill ever since round 1. Round 1, 5-3 against Adelaide, who are now one of the best team in the competition. At the time, we made them look like I was saying. You watched the first episode of the season. I said Adelaide's defense is just as bad as it was last year. You know,
I was shocked. We'll talk more about Garcia, but first, let's play the intro music.
Imagination and fantasy. Yeah. There's so much imagination, there's so much fantasy and flair. Imagination and flair. Lack a bit of imagination and fantasy. Imagination and fantasy. Yeah. There's so much imagination, there's so much fantasy and flair. Imagination and flair. Lack a bit of imagination and fantasy. Yeah.
Yes, imagination and fantasy. But Trent, is Richard Garcia, does he lack imagination and fantasy?
I think he does, Joe. You know, we saw a 4-2-4 to begin the year. And the first game, I thought, you know what? I like this. This is traditional Italian football. Garcia's gone back to not his roots, but someone else's roots. And he's played he plays 4 very attacking players. I thought, how could this work? We won the first game 5-3. Since then, it's been we're so stagnant. Like, can't defend is one problem. And then going forward, teams have worked us out. Wellington Phoenix is the prime example. If you park the bus against the Glory, you'll beat them because our defence is terrible and we're not good enough to break a team down.
I just think we scored all of our goals in the first 5 rounds of the season. And then they just, all right, boys, we scored enough goals for the season. That's it.
Now, Daniel Stein's injury correlation with losing. Joe, I'm a stats man. You know, I should be running that model.
For 12 games.
I should be running that model, Joe. I should be running it.
Now, Trent, like you are a coach. You study coaching. I don't know where you studied or whatever.
I have studied some coaching, yes.
Yeah. What tactically has gone wrong?
Is
it the players? Is it the coach? Is it the pressing? Is it the urgency? Is it the this? Is it the that? Is it, what the fuck is it?
So let's talk defensively and attack. Defensively, I don't think our players are good enough. I think...
Yeah. Is this including the imports?
It's tough because it's a mixture. Like I think Otter and Lockman I think they're good players and they're definitely good enough. So, but the other said like Lockman's partnering all season, Bodnar, Aspero.
It's different every game.
Riley Woolen. Firstly, it's different every game, and secondly, they're not like top players. They're not, they've got potential to be top players, right? Certainly, they've all got potential, but they're just not good enough. And you can say that because they're a professional club. They're just not good enough. So half the players are good, half the players are bad. Structurally, defensively, I think all over the place. Like the game against Western Sydney, I think we lost 3-0 and we conceded 3 offside goals in the first half. That was the worst structured team defensively set up, I think, away from home I've ever seen in the A-League. We were way too high and he got it all wrong. Garcia's been getting it all wrong defensively all year. Attackingly, we've got great players, Joe.
I think arguably we have better individuals than the premiership winning team under Popovic, under Popper's first season. We arguably have a better squad.
For sure. And
however, we're playing 10 times worse.
Yeah. There's depth up front. Like we have so many good forwards.
Yeah, exactly.
And, I understand playing 4 of them at a time is probably, logically thinking that's probably the best thing to do. Let's play, there's probably 8 to choose from. Let's play 4.
Yeah.
But going forward, there's no creativity. Kilkenny's obviously, probably been our best player all year. Who's partnered Kilkenny all year has been a mixture. It's been like centre-backs.
It was Wilson tonight.
Who I thought, I like Wilson, but doesn't really consistently...
No, I think he's Kilkenny's best partner. I think Malik is he's a good defender, but put him up the field, he just turns over the ball way too easily. But defensively, he's fine. That's the thing. It's just there's no creativity within the midfield. Kilkenny's great at passing the ball and retaining the ball. Yeah. It's just that spark we're missing.
Yeah, Wilson probably is the best partner next to Kilkenny. We've seen Timmins, who's been okay, but again, like potential.
Got off to a good start. Again, round 1 he played, and I thought this guy was playing NPL really 2 weeks ago. Like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah,
and now we know.
Yeah. Like, so he started well, but
I hate ragging on the kids, but I don't know.
No, we're allowed to, Joe, because it's the professional level.
I feel bad now because like I'm now older than like the people I'm like slagging off, and I need to look at myself in the mirror and say, is this the kind of person I want to be, Trent?
Is it, Joe? Is it the person?
No, it's not.
No, Joe, I want to see, and we haven't seen it. I thought Nick Sullivan was a central midfield signing. And
he was signed as a central midfielder. He played there whenever he played at Western Sydney.
Yeah, played really well under Babel. We saw him play a bit of right back, but it's kind of been sort of, separated from the squads quite a lot. I would love to see him in the middle. But so the middle has been inconsistent as well. But the front four, the prime example against Wellington Phoenix at home. So Wellington Phoenix parked the bus. We were in possession around our back four. The front four just stood in front of Wellington's sort of back four and could not get the ball. Now, you can't win a game if you can't get the ball to your best players. So we've struggled to do that. Economides tonight, Economides, I think, way too good for the Glory. He barely touched the ball. Yes. He barely touched the ball. Like, obviously, he touched the ball, he scored. But we couldn't give him the ball. We can't give the ball to our best players. And I think as a result of that, we can't create goal scoring opportunities. It's a philosophy thing, Joe. Like, you're a coach, you come in, you have an attacking philosophy. Garcia's attacking philosophy is just, I can't understand it. We knew it under Popovich. Part the bus, counter-attack, for the most part. You know what Corica's going to do. You give the ball to the number 10s. Same thing in Wellington. You can't see what Glory are doing. I can't see what they're doing.
Even in tonight's game, I think, individuals playing, especially in our strikers. Tonight there was Economides, Castro, and Keogh partnered for Neroli.
Yeah,
I just think Keogh and Fornaroli, they're both two strikers which hold up the ball, and they're only good when there's fast players going either side of them. Yeah. Tonight there was only Economides on the left, pacing up and down, and
Keogh was on the right, kind of thing.
You can't flick it onto you can't flick it onto Castro because he's not going to run into free space because he's not the quickest player. And then either that is those two holding up the ball, or Keogh will go to the right, but he's not a right winger. He can't cross. Or he actually got in he can cross. I'll go back on that. But he's not a winger. That's the thing. You play him to score headers. You want him heading in the cross, not crossing the ball in.
Yeah, 100%. And I just feel like, because we've changed to a 4-2-3-1 tonight. And I'm not sure we played against MacArthur. I didn't see much of that game I was playing. But so he's changed.
It was a crap game as well.
Yeah. So we've changed to a 4-2-3-1. We actually started off all right. But there's no, even though we played the same formation all year, for the most part, it changes. There's no philosophy that's nailed down that we play this way. Because I don't know how we play. We're good at keeping the ball between our back four and centre mids, but going forward, it's just I don't know what we're trying to do.
Yeah, it's just going back to round one. We had Richie ball. I'm going, wow, this is awesome. We haven't seen it since.
No.
There was those 3 rounds we scored 5 goals, 3 goals, and 4 goals in consecutive games, and then since then we scored 1 tonight. Then on Saturday we drew 0 with MacArthur. Technically we should have scored, but Federici, he's a G.
Yeah.
But apart from that, it's crisis time at Perth Glory. I think they're 10th. But I think again the scapegoat for them all season has been, we've had games in hand, but when we've made none of them count.
If we win all the games in hand, we're not in the 6th.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't use that excuse anymore.
One thing I want to bring up is this reminds me, the way we play reminds me of how we played under Kenny Lowe in the second and third year of his, not a championship grand final making season. And
this is David Mitchell. Sorry,
that's David Mitchell. Sorry, I'm thinking of I'm thinking of the salary cap year. So not the salary cap year of Kenny Lowe, but the year after and the year after that.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very similar. Now I'm thinking Garcia and Kenny Lowe have been in the WA coaching system, right? Yeah. And they've both made it to the top. And I think Garcia's struggling as much as Kenny Lowe did in that second and third year. I feel like
they're cut from the same tree. Is that what the saying is?
Joe, that is the saying, and I'm glad you've brought it up.
Or is it or is it that they're cut from the same cloth?
I don't think it's either of those. Like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, Joe. I'll tell you that much. I will tell you that.
We'll use that analogy because that is what I'm trying to say.
WA coaches at the top level haven't really impressed.
That's where you come in, Trent. That's where you turn the game on its head, playing a 2-7-1 formation.
Play the goalkeeper in midfield, like
why not? Can I just say,
yeah,
Scott Jamieson was playing in that Philip Lahm role under Pep Guardiola, where he was playing like left back, but then he'd tuck into like
Scott
central
Jamieson
midfield. Yeah,
was playing when Philip Lahm was under Pep Guardiola. Yes, I got you.
Yeah, as like the fullback would then like tuck into like central midfield
inverted
in possession.
Midfield, yeah.
It was so cool to see.
Yeah, the inverted fullbacks has Patrick Kisnorbo implemented this year. Now, Joe, Patrick Kisnorbo ruptured his Achilles playing in a charity match.
Yeah,
I laughed quite a lot when I heard this.
Quite misfortunate.
It is very. I feel now Achilles injuries, ruptured Achilles, arguably worse than ACL. Like most painful injury out there. So I really do feel for him. I just found it very funny.
This is why I'm scared to play Sunday League or just like competitive football now, because I don't want to get an injury and then I'm just fucked up for a year.
Well, I think it's such a long recovery. Like I know, it's actually funny enough, Scott Jamieson ruptured his ACL. I know his Achilles when he was at the Glory. And Joe, our friend, shout out to James B. Joney, got stitches in his head, didn't he? Getting
he did.
Studs to the face in Sunday League.
Yeah, it was shocking. The same thing nearly happened this Sunday when I saw them play. He's gone up for like another like low head, and some guys have put up his studs, but he got away with it this time. Thank God.
Yeah. No, can't do that.
But speaking of Achilles, because I thought about this during the game.
Okay.
Because like there would have been like, you know how like Achilles, like the tendon is named after like the Greek guy or whatever.
Yes, the Greek guy.
Like there would have been Achilles injuries before Achilles, correct?
You're right, Joe.
So what did they call like an Achilles tear before Achilles tore his Achilles?
So did the Greek? Is he a god, Joe?
He might be a Roman. I don't know.
So we need to go back in time and speak to the physicians of the time, Joe.
Yeah.
And what did they?
If you can call them that.
Were they always called? Was it always called the Achilles? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Or was Achilles named after the muscle?
Great point, Joe.
We need to get like a scientist or a historian on the podcast, and we can.
Or both, Joe. Or both.
Oh, but we can become like Joe Rogan. Like, forget about A-League. We'll just talk about just cool sciencey stuff.
I think so, Joe. Get them on Zencaster.
Mate, Zencaster, beautiful software. Talking about Melbourne City, Champagne football, they are going to be hard to beat, Trent. I think, Jamie McLaren? I think he's the best.
Joe, I wouldn't...
and statistically, he is the best. 100 goals in like 140 games or something. The quickest player in Australian football history, surpassing like Damien Morey and all that. Forget about it. They're old school, Trent. Like, out with the old, in with the new, I say. Newer is better. McLaren, the fastest to 100 goals in Australian footballing history.
It's incredible. And I remember him scoring under Kenny Lowe in the salary cap year. He was always off the bench, but he'd always score when he came on. One game,
he scored a hat-trick in his last game.
Yeah. One game I remember off the bench against Melbourne Victory, and I think he must have scored one or two. I'm thinking we were opposite the shed, Joe, back in the day. We knew from then he was good enough. And, Taggart and Keogh were keeping him out at the time. But he's just an insane striker. And I hope for the Socceroos he can start and really make an impact.
Yeah, I was talking to our friend Francis before about Jamie McLaren. Francis said his goal scoring record in the A-League this season is like phenomenal, but when he plays for Australia, he's neither here nor there. He's not scoring. And I said, Francis, there's something called the Ciro Immobile effect.
Okay.
And that is, you'll score plenty of goals for Lazio during the season. You score 30 goals a season.
Yeah.
But when you play for your national team, you just can't score.
Joe,
and I think the same applies for McLaren. Is
the Ciro Immobile effect applying here, Joe? I think so.
It could be.
And a lot of Australian strikers have had this syndrome. Or whatever, a disease, if you will, Joe. I remember Scott McDonald, when he was scoring a lot of goals, was it for Celtic?
At Celtic, yeah.
Yep. Couldn't buy a goal for Australia. Has he scored for Australia?
I think my memory says he scored 2 goals.
Yeah, something like that.
Because we had this conversation before on the podcast, and I said, if I played 26 times for the Socceroos, I'm scoring at least 1.
I think you would, Joe. I think you would. Scott McDonald.
It's not that hard to score against world-class defenders at an international level. Surely not.
You just sneak behind the centre back at the back post and get a tap in. Australia, he scored no goals during 26 games. Famously scored no goals.
But you know what, Trent? This is a good segue, actually, because he did score against Sydney on his debut for the Western Sydney Wanderers. But, Trent, before we get into that, let's have a word from... Unfortunately, he's a Sydney FC fan, Dennis at Streamgate. But thank you guys for sponsoring us. Take the ad away, Joe.
This episode of the Sokkah Podcast is sponsored by our official sponsor, Streamgate Live Streaming Australia. They've been live streaming since 2008, specialising in custom-built stream pages, pay-per-view and multi-language streaming. They can cater to large online conferences with multiple simultaneous streams and destinations, including all social media channels, servicing clients Australia-wide. Go to streamgate.com.au or find them on Instagram.
And this podcast is also especially sponsored by arrowsport.com.au. If you want to grab yourself special custom-made soccer jerseys, polos, whichever team where you want, visit arrowsport.com.au. Basically, prices are $55 for a jersey, fully customised with name, number, or $70 for customised jersey, shorts, and shipping isn't included. That's arrowsport.com.au.
Yes, Trent, arrowsport.com.au and Streamgate Live Streaming Australia. Thank you so much. Now, I was saying how Dennis was a massive Sydney FC fan. Unfortunately, his Saturday night was not a good Saturday night.
Joe, it was an incredible game, I thought.
A derby football. I love derbies, Trent. I love violence and flares and smoke and chanting and all the argy-bargy of that derby brings, because it's football, Trent. That's what we love.
And yeah, it was an entertaining game. I think it's and the A-League's been very entertaining this year. And I think this game was a hallmark of it.
Best season ever, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
Except for Glory,
yeah, every other team's entertaining. Incredible game, incredible atmosphere. Interesting. Scott McDonald signed for Western Sydney is interesting, because I remember
he was there for 4 days, and he's scoring goals.
And I know at Brisbane, for the most part, everything was going well.
Yeah,
the fans really liked him. I believe.
I liked him.
He's a goal scorer though. Talk about a fox in the box.
And that's why they signed him, Trent.
That's why they signed him, Joe. So good, big up Scott McDonald, but it was a fantastic game. Now, Bobo. Joe, I want to talk about that penalty.
Bobo or Bobo?
It is Bobo.
I like Bobo.
I like Bobo. Now, a man of his caliber on the biggest stage there is, it's a big miss, Joe.
It is a big miss, but he did make up for it, Trent.
He did.
Let's not forget about that.
He did a few minutes after, but I just found the penalty miss quite funny.
No, it was a very bad miss. But if I was Adam Lafondra in my quarantine room in Sydney or wherever, I would be laughing. I'd be like, I'm on penalty duties again. Ha ha. That's what Lafondra would say.
Now, interestingly enough, can Sydney fit Lafondra and Bobo into the team at once? Because
it's an interesting question, Trent. But
you might have to rejig the system.
But do you rejig your system this far into the season?
It'll be a slight tweak. It'll be a slight tweak because they do play with two strikers.
Yeah, but one is like a pacey. Yeah, like that's the thing. You sacrifice Barbarouse's speed, but then again, Barbarouses hasn't had the greatest season either. Yeah, he scored goals, but Sydney FC fans always say, "Oh, he misses so much." And it was the same at Victory as well.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. Now, Bruce Kamau, Joe. I want to mention Bruce Kamau because
hot dog, Trent.
Hot dog, Joe. Bruce Kamau at the start of the year, nowhere to be seen in the Western Sydney side, and they had so much depth all over the park, and they still do. And he came off the bench a few times, and now he's starting. And I just feel like there's so many players like Bruce Kamau in the A-League. And even at Western Sydney, like Georgievski, we don't know, I believe Georgievski's nowhere to be seen.
Is that Melbourne City now? Georgievski.
Oh, when did he sign?
Last week.
Okay, there you go.
This is why you need Twitter, Trent, because you don't see all this cool stuff.
I know, I need a joke. But there's a lot of players in Kamau's position who have been iced out, and then they come in, they get the opportunity, they've been fantastic. So he's been really good, Joe. I wanted to point
the last month, he has been phenomenal. I would say, Trent, I'm going to play it. Hold on.
Play it.
It's Joe's Player of the Week.
Yes, it's Joe's Player of the Week, but I think this time I'm going to change it to Joe's Player of the Month because we haven't recorded in ages because we've been busy. I had an exam, by the way, so
How'd it
That's
go,
a
Joe?
good excuse. I think harder than I thought, but I think I passed. So cash back. So Joe's player of the month is Bruce Kamau. He has been saucy. Saucey. Saucy.
Hot dog, Joe. Hot dog.
He's quick. He can finish. He's been assisting. He's scored goals. His goal on the weekend, off the post, beautiful.
I love that, Joe. I love that. Player of the month, I agree. He's been fantastic.
Congratulations. We'll send you something, Bruce.
Now, interestingly enough, Western Sydney have changed to a back four. I believe they started the year in a back four, went to a back three, now back four. Don't quote me on that. They're definitely a back three to begin with. Joe, Bernie Abini Asay, I don't think he's been that good this year.
I think it's karma for leaving Newcastle.
Yep.
It's the universe, Trent. You know what I say about the universe?
It goes round and round.
What comes around goes around. Yeah, that's the saying.
That might be the galaxy, Joe. That's you're thinking of the galaxy.
No, it's the universe. What comes around goes around.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Think about it.
I think Bernie Abini. I think of Bernie Abini. I think of Central Coast Bernie Abini.
I think
Scoring goals against Glory.
I think of Sydney FC scoring that goal against Western Sydney Wanderers.
Oh yeah. You're right.
But no, what I did like about Bernie, he did when he got subbed off, he gave some stick to some Wanderers fans. So I always like a bit of shithousery.
Giving you stick to your own fans. like that. I like that.
Oh no, he gave it to Sydney FC. Wait, he gave it to Sydney fans. Yeah,
okay.
That wouldn't make sense, would it?
No, it wouldn't. Graham Dorrans, I've been impressed with as a side note at Western Sydney. I think he played a lot of games for West Brom. A lot of games, Joe.
Yeah. This is what I don't like with Fox Sports though.
Mm-hmm.
They say Jamie Dorrans, 149 Premier League appearances, but they don't say who for.
Graham, yeah.
Or Rudy just said, they'll say, 50 Premier League appearances, but they don't say who they play for or how many goals Gested scored, for example. It's misleading, Trent. I don't like it.
Joe, I don't think they know.
They have the stats. They have them.
They need to read them better, Joe.
It's
they need to articulate the knowledge.
They're just dulling down their information so the end user will be like, oh yeah, this guy played in the Premier League, he must be good. But yeah, I don't know. That's just a little pet peeve
we
I
need
have.
to elevate the conversation, Joe. Football fans are intelligent people.
Yeah,
give them the information they need.
I got a 98. I'm bloody jet. 5 years ago. Now I'm so much dumber, I reckon.
So I got a 92 and a 0.6, I believe.
I got 89.95. I was so annoyed I didn't get 90. That's why I round up.
Fair enough.
Because I was one percentile off, but we'll have a conversation about that later.
Now, Joe, interesting enough, behind you, lovely artwork.
Oh, from our friend who designed the Sokkah Podcast logo, F3032FC or FC3032. We'll tag him in the Instagram.
Yeah, we'll tag him in the post.
Lovely prints. I just DM'd him mate, love the artwork. Can I have the PDF? And he's like, mate, sure thing. Then we discuss things in the DMs. I did have to pay for them because you need to support the artist, Trent.
Of course, Joe.
They're not volunteering making sick artwork.
No.
I went on Officeworks online. Then I did the stuff there.
Okay.
2 weeks later, boom.
Is it Canvas, Joe?
Yeah, Canvas, yeah. You can do all sorts of funky stuff now. It's the future, Trent.
It's the future at Officeworks, Joe.
Yeah, we'll go back to Western Sydney.
Yes.
What's it? The coach, Robinson. What's it? Carl.
Carl Robinson.
There is a bit of speculation surrounding his future now.
Tell me, Joe.
There has been a rumour that Kevin Muscat is on the radar for Western Sydney.
Very, very interesting.
Now, I'm jealous, Trent, because I want him at Glory. But we're going to get stuck with Garcia next season.
I think next year Garcia might be out the door. Not by the end of the year, though. So
if Glory don't win a game for the rest of the season, he's gone, which I think could be likely.
Probably likely, yeah. Carl Robinson, when he was at the Jets, he took a Jets team.
He nearly got them to finals.
Of absolutely no one. Signed Messi, but he was Irish.
Wessie.
Ebini. He assembled this squad, this formation. They were, who's the Port Macquarie Messi? Is that
Angus Thurgate.
Angus Thurgate. 2 Messis in his team. No, but Newcastle were incredible under him. And he came in with this, reputation. We had someone from our Discord, one of our patrons, tell us he was in coaching in the MLS.
Vancouver Vancouver.
I think
Vancouver or Toronto. Vancouver. Let's say Vancouver.
Vancouver Whitecaps. I don't know that. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, comes in with a decent reputation, but no one really knew about him. He excelled in Newcastle. Now he's made this snake move, and I always said it from the start, Joe. This Western Sydney team has been underperforming.
They got off to a great start, and then they've leveled off. But I think once you get a derby win, there's going to be a huge shift of morale in the change room. They go, look, boys, we beat Sydney. We hate Sydney. Let's beat, I don't know, whoever we play next week. Why can't they carry this momentum onto next week? If they get a good result this week, it's exponential, Trent.
The flow-on effect, Joe, you're looking for.
The flow-on effect.
So Carl Robinson, if he leaves, it would really leave me with a sour taste in my mouth of my opinion about Carl Robinson. I'll be to say, Carl Robinson.
But Carl Robinson doesn't give a fuck about what you think, Trent.
One day, Joe, we'll get him on the podcast.
We'll know. Who knows? But
Did you see Marcus Babbel, Joe?
On his Instagram?
Yeah.
He was looking forward to the derby, and if you don't follow Marcus Babbel on Instagram, do follow him. His Music Friday videos are fantastic.
I think he's a full-time Instagram influencer.
He's an influencer now in Stuttgart or wherever he lives now. But all the best to you, Marcus. I love how his name is spelled with a K as well.
Oh, it's so good.
Let's hop across the pond to the Melbourne Victory Central Coast game now.
Okay.
Victory, it's still not happening for them this season, and the Central Coast slump, if you can say that, continues.
Yeah, so recently the Mariners have been, obviously started amazingly and they've really hit
plateaued.
Plateaued, that's exactly the word I was looking for. I still think they're going to be a force come finals.
Because if they get a home game in finals, there's just too much good vibes in that stadium. With 10,000 people there, they're gonna win one game in finals.
Matt Simon's going to show up.
Put that in the diary. And if Qual comes on, he hasn't scored in a while, but he's electric.
Too much energy.
Exactly. He's quick. He's got a good shot.
I think teams are sort of working the Mariners out, and I did sort of say when Glory versus the Mariners 2 times in very quick succession. I did quote. You can quote me that the Mariners are a hoax. I'll dial that back. And say
they are a good team.
Yeah, they're a good team.
Have they lost their mojo? I think they have.
Yeah, I think they were on that insane run. And I think it's, they'll potentially get it back, but I can see them sort of dropping off as the season progresses.
Yeah, but the Stage Man, keep up the good work, mate.
Oh, we love you, Stage Man.
Yeah, this is Statch Man.
Sorry,
So let's talk about Victory now. I'm not sure when we last recorded, but since then they have announced Tony Popovich as their new coach.
Yes.
I think that they've won the league next season, guaranteed.
No chance. Tony Popovich is not the man he was. And,
Trent. No.
And Joey, they're announcing two new signings. 2 new signings, Gabriel and Christian.
Mate, he's a good coach. That's all you need. You can have 10 awesome players like Glory. If you don't have a good coach, you're 10th.
He is a good coach, but he's a fantastic coach. However, since the introduction of his children into a professional environment, it has not been good. Twice this has happened.
There's been no word with them joining Victory, has there? I haven't seen anything.
They were going to announce 2 signings, and it was rumors that it was going to be them too.
Shit.
Well, originally, when he wanted to get the Victory job, he said, "I'm not signing unless Gabriel and Christian come," and then Victory pushed back on that.
Things change, but regardless of your Suns, with the Suns, they finished top 4. Without the Suns, they're first.
That's a decent prediction. Yeah, that's
I'll stick by that. When we do our next season prediction, I'll remember this conversation. But in the news today, because the new interim coach for Melbourne Victory, Stephen Keane, he wasn't happy with Popovich because apparently Popovich has already told some players that they won't be needed next season. And
behind his back.
But I think, Stephen Keane, you're not there in 6 weeks. Shut up.
No, I think this is very, Popovich is a very arrogant character.
Yeah, he's very abrupt, and it's his way.
Yeah, and I like this coming into the open because people should know everything they can about what goes on behind the scenes. I don't like it.
I like it because
I don't know, Joe.
Listen, this season's a write-off anyway, so who cares what happens for the next 6 weeks? Like that's the way I approach it. Like
I'd say if I'm Tony Popovich, 6 weeks.
Yeah, there's a respect thing there, but the quicker Popovich can start work fixing Melbourne victory, the better. And if that's now telling players, listen, you're not needed next season, I think that's a good thing. Yeah, yes, it does fuck over Stephen Keane, the interim coach, but it's the business.
I tell you what, Joe, this has just sparked something inside. So I don't like this even further because Popovich has a reputation, and a lot of coaches do this, have the reputation of coming into a club 3 years, 2 years, 2-year turnaround. They bring new players in, they win, and they're out. Yeah. And, in previous years, in historical nature of football, there's been coaches who have stayed on clubs for a long time, right? We won't say that anymore. So, it's a kind of a symbol of the modern movement of how coaches move football. Coaches move in, quick changes, they don't really care about the club, all they care about is results and their paycheck, and they're in and they're out. Like, if Popovich was really here for the long run, which he's probably only going to be there for 2-3 years, potentially win something and then leave, So I would
But Trent, who, if you're a coach, who wants to stay at an A-League club for 15 years? Everyone has goals of Europe or wherever. Like, you're not going to set up yourself for life coaching Melbourne Victory for 10 years.
Yeah, I'm not saying for life. I just think, Asian Champions League. Because, he gave up, Popovich gave up on glory, essentially, in the third year in the Asian Champions League. I would like
to be fair, in his contract, there was always an option that if there was an offer from Europe, that he could go. Like, Glory knew what they were signing in for once they signed off on that contract.
Yeah, fair enough. I just think the third year, he completely let the ball drop.
For 100%. But
it's just something to think about.
Yeah, but it is what it is. But yeah, I think, is he a good coach for any team? 100%. And I think, especially with victory, the resources he can get there, I think that can leapfrog him back into Europe, where before he was linked with Crystal Palace back in the day.
Yeah,
I think why can't that happen again at Victory?
For sure.
But after the Melbourne Victory game, there was a game tonight. Brisbane Roar 2, Western United 1. Now, Trent, you were working this game, but I watched this game because
I did manage to watch it at work.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, a little bit off.
Does Dean, your boss, know about that, or?
I'll let him know after.
Yeah, if he's listening, which he always is.
Yeah, he always is. He's going to be on the show soon, Joe.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah, soon. This game, it was really wet, Trent, and the ground was the ground was bad.
The ground was slippery, Joe. The ground was slippery.
What's his name? Scott? What's his name? The Western United keeper.
Scott.
Is it Scott?
I think so.
Anyway, the Western United keeper. It's not Curto, the other one. Short hair, good haircut. It's mine.
Ryan Scott.
Ryan Scott. Or 4 magnificent saves with his foot, with his arm. He does this, he does that. He saves the ball. He doesn't go in.
However, reflexes, Joe.
2 did go in eventually, but in the first half, 20 minutes in, the whole left side of his body was just filled with mud, and he was half white, half brown. That's how much mud there was. There was no goal mouth. It was just dirt.
Harvey Dent. Now, I think, Western United are built on that grinta, that passion.
They can grind out a result. They conceded with 30 seconds to go.
Yeah, it was unlucky. And I think Ryan Scott in goals, the first half covered in mud. It's a good depiction of Western United and their fighting culture.
Yeah, they're a grinta team, and that result against Adelaide United, where they drew 0-0, was it?
Where they got that offside goal. Oh.
Yeah, there's debate around the red card for the second yellow card for Sanchez.
Yeah,
which I think
I think it probably was a red. The second yellow, I remember that.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Did the player milk it though? The Adelaide player, yes, he did. Yeah. But it's a silly foul to give away, especially. But yeah, that VAR goal where it denied Piraeus a beautiful goal.
So on that VAR goal, so after watching that, and that was the only way West United were going to score, was that, they're going to have one moment with the 10 men. They're going to have one moment to score. Exactly. And they did it. They scored. It was fantastic. And obviously got disallowed. My thing is, if you're within 3 millimeters offside, the 3 millimeter leeway, Joe, This is what they need to
No,
introduce.
it's a joke. But I think Simon Hill mentioned it in the Shim Spider So Much More podcast. That in the Eredivisie in Holland, the line they draw the offside with, it has a thickness of like 5 centimeters.
Yes.
And if the two lines from the players intersect, because the lines are bigger, it doesn't consider VAR because there's like a margin for error.
That's such a good rule.
Yeah, but then like you can always say, like in certain scenarios, again, you're going to have the same issues anyway with, it's 1 centimeter away from the margin for error anyway. But it's a better fail safe, but it just ruins the emotion of the game. And even like Diamanti after the game posted on Instagram saying, I don't like VAR, and it sucks the joy out because
100%. The only way they're going to win that game, 10 men, they parked the bus, and it was like that one chance, Diamanti, a little bit of skill, excellent, over the top, Pereira around the goalkeeper, goal, scenes.
I was pissed off after watching this game. I don't support either team, but as a neutral, I was annoyed.
100%, Joe.
But Trent, it is what it is. But yeah, if you want to support the show, you can keep the lights on. I can buy some more cool art so you can look at. I bought it with my money, not the Patreon money.
Of course.
FYI. We got quite a bit saved up now.
We can invest, Joe.
Yeah. Comment below what we should invest in, or message us on Twitter. But Trent, if you want to support the show, you want to receive exclusive podcasts, shout-outs on the show, and access to our secret Discord chat, become a Patreon at patreon.com/Sokkah Podcast. Now, Trent, I'm going to do the honours of reading out every single patron's name, starting with Edward Watson, Adrian Benoza, Ben Miro, Neil Simons, Ryan Robinson, Milan Cassiari, Andy Tin, John Morris, Harry Russell, Harry, Dennis Fernandez, Ben Robson, Natasha Williams, Andrea, David Clark, Fraser Marnham, and Glenn Olivero. Thank you so much for supporting the show. It means so much to us that we can bring the Sokkah Podcast, the best goddamn podcast, to you every now and then.
More episodes coming soon.
Yeah, well, yeah, the schedule's been a bit fucked at the moment.
Yeah.
In Perth lockdown, yeah. But what can you do? Trent, would you like to end on anything in particular?
This is my new room. I moved into my brother's room. Shout out to Zach. He's moved to Karratha. I've got more space.
I think your new room has shitter internet, though, because your picture's a little blurry on my side.
Oh, no, the modem is right next to my laptop.
Who knows?
So my new room, that's the one I'm going to end it on, Joe. It's very white. I've painted the walls.
You need artwork like I do now.
See, my other room has so much shit on the walls. I'm actually enjoying the white. So behind, where you can't see in the camera, there's a lot. There's like my TV and a shelf.
Yeah. So you can't have a TV in the room, Trent. It's bad.
Is it? Jeez.
Yeah. No good, mate.
Counterproductive.
Yeah. Keep it out.
Fair enough, Joe.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. This was another special edition of. It's always a special edition, always.
The podcast is a special, Joe. That you don't understand.
It's so special. Big ups everyone. Have a good week. Live, laugh, live, whatever. Yeah. Thank you.
We'll see you soon.